Get yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally ready. Yeah. Larry specifically wanted me to announce that this Sunday is the deadline for the Dylan Thomas anthology. If you were interested in honoring Dylan Thomas, we have to the microphone first the delightful Courtney Bambrick. She teaches writing at Thomas Jefferson University's East Falls campus in Philadelphia. She was the poetry editor at Philadelphia Stories until 2024, recently retired. Her own poems appear or are forthcoming in American Poetry Review, Mom Egg Review, Landlocked, Pinhole, Thimble, SWWIM, I guess Swim Every Day, New York Quarterly, Invisible City, and more. World Without is going to be available shortly from Bottle Cap Press, and I'm looking forward to reading it when it does arrive on these shores. Courtney Bambrick.
Hi. So I'm going to start actually with the poem that I submitted to the anthology Celebrating Moonstone. That was an incredible event, and I just want to congratulate Sean, Sarah, Elijah, all the folks who contributed. This is my little contribution. Hunters and gatherers. Long ago, before tacos and gas stations and baseball and number 2 pencils, people gathered around fires to eat and to celebrate the hunters. Soon they gathered to remember their lost loved ones or to remind one another of why they lived together, what they shared. We mark our walls, stalls in public toilets, train cars, underpasses, overpasses, water towers, initials, sigils, signs. We have names as they had names. We have songs, little puffs of air echoing around a fire or through the soft black bulb of a microphone into the shadows of a barroom, through cave, savannah, Union Hall bookshop. Someone must have arranged the stones around the fire, must have burped up a story for others to remember. Warm light illuminating teeth and tears, such a circle that each cave person felt the pull of the middle, maybe shared a nod with a neighbor, maybe embraced them. And while French fries cool on the edges of plates, while ice melts in cocktail tumblers and foam slips back to the bottom of the pint glass, we find our stones and settle our bones and face the fire and listen in this closest darkness. Monkeys. On the television, monkeys. I missed the part of the show where their species was named, but there they are, huddled at the base of a tree in a rainstorm. Their worried eyes reflect the downpour, the shadow of gray tree bark and gray sky. And you, my love, went out for a walk hours after afternoon showers ended, and you were caught and drenched. Why didn't you tell me it was going to rain again? You ask, as if I have powers of divination and meteorology. But now, my monkey, you stand stripped to sopping briefs before the dryer. What more can we share? Some monkeys hide while others chance the downpour. You have left little puddles on the bathroom floor for me to find with my bare feet. I mentioned Sarah Browning. She and Olga Livshin have been part of one of my poetry huddles. I have a couple poetry huddles, and they've been really, really incredibly helpful with things. So this is a poem that they helped with. Cleanliness. Dr. Zucker looked in my mouth and assured me that the sutures would fall out or dissolve. Dr. Zucker gave me a syringe to flush salt water over tooth number 32, or rather, where tooth number 32 would be if it hadn't been removed delicately nearly 2 weeks ago. Dr. Zucker wrote in his note, found in my portal minutes after returning home, hygiene, good. And all I ever want is to be thought of as clean. A dream I had the night before last had me showering in public at a mall kiosk. Soapy water soaking the wool coat, sneakers, and pocketbook heaped at the edge of the glowing blue square where I washed. See how I lather my washcloth, how I scrub efficiently but thoroughly. Now please, bend toward my still damp neck and note my scent of clarity. Sean mentioned the collection. So here's a couple poems from that. And it feels, honestly, it feels a little bit shitty to have a series of poems about worlds without specific things that we use or are familiar with or, are comfortable with. In the world without doors, we've given up on property and have recognized that a turtle is vulnerable even in its shell. Some predators don't mind using weapons. We share more. Space is all common. Cars, buses, trains, and airplanes are far more dangerous. With nothing to cut, key makers have begun building intricate memorials to doorknobs, chains, and latches. In a world without mirrors, we watch the condensation drip down ceramic tiles after our shower. When we brush our teeth, we do so undistracted by the flatness of our hair or the thing that grows from the tip of our nose. We're ready to go as soon as we're covered and comfortable. We dress appropriately for the weather. We only know if we have spinach or lipstick on our teeth if someone else mentions it. But most of us let such things pass. We cannot see behind ourselves when we drive. We look only forward, right, or left, only as far as our next turn. Reverse is far too risky. These next two are my little fantasy poems. At red lights. At red lights, I pull out the stops and wail. I feel the adoration of the crowd. I see a window cracked in the turning lane. I trust the driver can hear me. I trust they want to. One day, I'll be crossing an intersection with Steve Perry or Corey Glover or Nico Case or Ethel Merman, and someone will hear me, wave me down, and make me a star. When I sang Danny Boy at St. Joe's Villa for retired nuns, someone gave me his card. Could I sing for a Sunday service? They'd pay, but not much. I didn't call. I imagine myself 100 years ago, maybe mothering my own brood, maybe caked in grease paint, curly wig unnaturally red, feathers and glass beads to catch the light. I'd wink and make them all hoot. I'd sing something bawdy, something not for church. But when the hollering settled, I'd put up a hand and step into their hungry silence, greedy myself. I'd sing something old to make them think about their mothers, sisters, the girls they told they'd write to but didn't. I'd dissipate like dust mites in the spotlight. I'd lodge in the wettest corners of their eyes, and they'd sing along until they themselves were also dust, floating through an abandoned hall. Romanian deadlift. My trainer asks about an acronym, RDL, and I confess ignorance, and he tells me RDL means Romanian deadlift. And yes, he's a trainer, and yes, I'm in a gym at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, the only morning apart from Thursday I'll be at the gym, but I hear Romanian deadlift and picture myself, okay, this is another one of these fantasies, picture myself in lime green spangles and sequined rose applique at each shoulder, a mustachioed, muscled man squatting before me. Hup! He'd bark and I would leap, flip up one side of his taut body, slipping pink slippered toes into the crags between his bulges, and he'd catch me, perhaps upside down, my curls pinned and netted, defying gravity. We'd lock eyes and bark, hop, together, and everything in him that had held me would snap, and I'd be an arrow, shot feet first into the heart of the overlapping Klieg lights, a bullet, until I bent my knees to roll my body, a table saw slicing air and earth until I stand croix derrière, soaking in sweat, light, attention, and applause. The trainer at the gym this Tuesday walked me to a rack of barbells and had me hinge slightly. Barely anyone saw me. No one at all applauded. And it's E for electricity. I turned 6 at the hospital. Made friends with another girl immediately, fleetingly. She was my age, paler than me. We shared my birthday cake. I had seizures but was told not to say epileptic. People might not understand. Doomed in earlier centuries to hang or burn. Demonic possession easier to explain than electricity popping in the brain. I learned the word epilet because it sounded like epilepsy. I named the fringed shoulder squares at every opportunity. Eccentric, eclectic, I learned the distinction. I liked these words with ease. Familiar, complex. At 8, I thought, how interesting I must be. A child whose vocabulary draws from science and superstition. By the 5th grade, I'd wanted to know more about the Salem witches, carbon dating, the Shroud of Turin. I'd had nightmares about Stonehenge, Amelia Earhart, Easter Island, people who disappeared. How much danger are we always in? How stupid does history think we are? I pretended to understand the science behind the wires glued to my skull with paste, the dim room where I wasn't supposed to sleep, while the electroencephalogram, and probably too God, listened and recorded my fears. Shuddering feathers oscilloscoped over the palest green graph paper. In the dark calm of a yoga class, cubbies filled with worn but expensive sandals, sneakers, the instructor told us to breathe through our tailbones. I tried. Fake it till you make it. But then she said, feel the support of the earth and let it hold you. Said, hear the earth telling you that you deserve love. 2. In the dark chaos of a car wash with the radio playing a song from before I was born, a sign said, put it in neutral, no steering, no braking. And I looked too much for meanings, so I tried to let go of myself for the duration of a song, to ride on a track through splash, spray, bubble, and scrub, and settle into whatever state would have me. 3. In the lights up, after a matinee of Bartok and Rachmaninoff, my heart squeezing itself, I tried to tell Peter why I was crying. Something beautiful is always under threat, but danger or hurt can be diluted by beauty. And I took a shaky breath, thinking of the violence I see on my phone all day and the enormity of sweetness needed to drown the bile. I tried to say something, but managed to just say, I mean, and gesture helplessly before letting myself sob into his shirt. 4. In a school auditorium, my niece singing with 2 others in front of the chorus. Tallest of the 3, she stood in the middle, her mouth closest to the microphone. And I saw her dad, my brother, dab his eyes. And I saw my dad, her grandfather, dab his eyes. And my sister next to me said, I knew you'd cry. And I did too. Thank you all so very much.
All right. Second up, we have, I think, in his premiere feature here at Moonstone, correct? Javon Simeon. Javon says, as I touch the pencil, I start to remember I am a writer. I am a juggernaut. My melanin is the exposition of art itself. I rise with the sun, I am the moon. I'm just a poet that tries to balance the dark and light within me, to find peace within myself. I relinquish this into my poetry as it creates imagery, to inspire people to see beauty in themselves. I'm a child of the sea with Caribbean blood running through my veins. Without further ado, Javon.
Hello everyone. I was just talking to some people and here it goes. Like, you know, the other day I was in New York and I met this girl and she asked me a question, who am I? And I told her I'm a writer. And she said, "What's so special about your writing?" And I told her, I write poetry. And when I write poetry, I feel it coming alive when I write. My poetry is passionate. My poetry can breathe. My poetry is a light to the darkness within me. My poetry makes me realize I am powerful as a melanated artist with Caribbean blood running through my veins. I am a child of the sea. I write to continue a culture of this black art era. My writing is for the melanated hippies who embrace the piercings and the tattoos, who paint their nails black just because. I write to inspire emotion as these words, they will create vibration. And my writing made me realize my melanin is the exposition of art itself. I rise with the sun, I am the moon. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. And for the girl who I may never see again, I hope my words inspire you to move with rhythm, move with love, move genuinely. I hope you affect those around you positively. And please move with what God and the universe have to say and relinquish this, into your life. Thank you. Yes. So this poem I wrote, this was actually, I was going through a lot of stuff last year. And I performed this poem last year too. It's called Under the Luminescent Moonlight. As I gaze at the night sky, I start to feel this pain. But the thought of suicide, it cuts deeper than any blade. As I walk through the dark forest under the moonlight, I start to feel this lunar energy throughout the night. I hear my brother's spirit animals howling as I deal with this depression. As I take a look at the river, trying to see my reflection. This depression, it comes from lack of physical affection. Now, is there anyone out there for me? Am I really meant to be lonely? Because these days I'm drinking myself to sleep every night and I don't know why people even like me. But I feel this pain, but the thoughts of suicide, it cuts deeper than any blade. But maybe it's not too late, because if I can make it through this night, I know I'll be okay. So I'm just gonna pray, I'm just gonna meditate. As the sun rises, I realize my story is so far from being written and late to coming out emotionally, but finally embracing myself fully. As I learn to love myself through spirituality, as I learn to embrace my sexuality, as I learn to conquer these universal laws, to navigate through reality, as I express this individuality, I start to release my tragedies, letting them go through this poetry, and I'm starting to see why people like me. And I have this lively fire energy, and I know I am broken, but there is someone out there for me, and it's okay. I'll learn to be lonely. It'll be lovely. It'll only be temporary. Until then, I'll keep discovering my individuality. And I'm gonna say thank you to the moon for bringing this to me. And thank you for the sun for helping me rise through this. And thank you for God for the creation of it all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. It's called The Valley. I'm so desperate for this profound intimacy with someone. I'm so desperate for love, or is it lust? As I walk through the valley under the full moon with my Bible and my Kabbalion, I see my shadow. As I walk down the valley of the shadow of death, and when I look at the full moon, I realize in my spirit, there is nothing left. There is nothing there. It's exhausted from all resources. It's this desperation, this lack of belonging, this sadness in my heart. So I pray on my knees and I feel the grass and I start to connect with the cosmos and my past, and I feel these frequencies around me. So I stop and plead. I ask God, oh God, will you please help me? So I take out my depression medication and I take them without hesitation, and I consistently roll weed and drink alcohol to ease the trauma and the frustration, and I hold on so tight to my tiger eye necklaces, praying for it to ease my mind, and I hold on to my ankh necklace tight to remember my ancestors. I'm just gonna say Ashe. He said, let there be light, and he created the heavens and stretched them out. He created the earth and everything in it. He gives breath to everyone, life to everyone who walks the earth. But that means we all here have purpose. We all have purpose. Selah. I rise with the sun, I rest with the moon. Thank you. But it's called Native Queen. I feel the moonlight hugging me as I write this poem. I feel the moonlight embracing me. My beautiful, spiritual Native Queen. As I feel your warm energy aligns with mine, I start to develop a peace of mind. You keep me at peace with your lovely voice. You're so spiritual for your love for rose quartz. It's you, of course. Your soft skin melts me. Your existence is the definition of enlightenment. Your skin is so sweet, just like the sugar straight from the heart of Africa, from the roots of humanity. I really like you. You know, you're always so chill, always so loving. Your touch heals my soul and my spirit. With your soft curly hair, your smooth skin, your beautiful teeth, with a powerful spirit underneath, you are so important to me. I don't know how to feel, but let's just take it slow and let's just see, you know, where the universe takes us as we grow together to achieve higher consciousness. When we grow together to feel the ethers. Maybe meditate together as we open our third eye to see what reality really is, how it all aligns together, the darkness, the light, the blend between the two. And guess what? Between all that, I see art, I see you. Your blood is the exposition of the land we walk on. You open my chakras from the crown to the root. You are my spiritual native queen, connecting with your ancestry through spirituality, through tarot. You're so brave, you're so fearless, like the arrows your ancestors used and died for. They believed in a higher consciousness. They knew death was not the end. And they knew of different worlds other than this one. Your ancestors knew death was only the beginning. I love your spirit. Your soul is so beautiful. I finally see what the universe has to offer. And you'll forever rise with the sun. You'll forever rest with the moon. As above, so below. Thank you. So this is one of my favorite poems. The poem is called Men Don't Cry. Stop crying, you bitch. You're a man. Stop crying. Men don't cry. You coward. Dad, I'm scared. If you don't stop crying, I will give you something to cry about. 20 years later. Are men allowed to cry? You know, I was speaking to my sister the other night, and we were talking about how men have this emotional fight between society and oneself. Are men allowed to cry? Seeing the pain of his fellow brothers go through such things, to racism, to heartbreak, are men allowed to cry? You know, I heard a statistic the other day, how men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than a woman. I heard this from some knowledgeable resources. Are men allowed to cry? As men, we are supposed to be macho and brave and courageous, like the movies. You know, like that Russian actor Arnold, you know, the Terminator guy. You know, we had to be brave and macho. Are we allowed to cry? I told my sister the other night, you know, if a group of men got together and discussed who actually wanted to die, you know, you'll see a lot of tears in their eyes. You'll see a lot of tears. A lot of tears. As men, we are trained not to show fear in front of a woman. We can't do that. We can't do that. No. Are men allowed to cry? As I look into the audience and I see my fellow men, it's okay. You can cry. Cry. That's it. Thank you. The poem I called is I see art in different places in my life, and Vincent van Gogh is nothing but inspired this whole poem. So it goes as Vincent van Gogh really hit my spirit when he said a couple of things about his life and how you see art differently and how you see art in different ways through his life. And I just wanted to say, I also understand, I put my heart and my soul into this writing, and I lost some parts of me in the process. And I also feel as though the night is more colorful and more vibrant than the day, and I feel the moonlight kissing me. I question deeply, I question, oh God, I question my curiosity. What am I in the eyes of most people? A non-entity? Just a bisexual black man that suffers from eczema and severe anxiety? That also has an unrealistic imagination on how people should be treated fairly, no matter what sex, race, or creed. Wake up, they say. I also feel as though I don't have much of a position in society at times, and short the lowest of the low. Well, if this is absolutely true, I would also love to show the world what this non-entity, this nobody has in her heart. And I will show you how my words carry vibration, and I just want to walk with joy. I want to walk with a peace of mind, with happiness. I want to move in rhythm. I want to walk into rooms and light them up with my energy. And I want to show love. I want to be a light to people. And even though there is conflict inside me, I still feel at peace. I see God through my friends and my family. I see beautiful souls of art in every alleyway, in every street. Thank you. I'm still upset how, years later, I'm finally figuring out how awesome this guy was. This poem here is a little, I grew up with, grew up very differently than most people. Felt as though, I didn't really fit into, I feel as though everybody could probably relate. Everybody, sometimes they don't I feel as though they don't fit into certain groups, and they really have to learn to really love themselves, you know? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so this poem is called Ill the Weird One. I understand the pain of being discriminated against by your own people. Every day I hear the voices inside my head. Ill the weird one. They look just like you, but they discriminate so hard against me with eyes of deception and fear and misconception. Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in with with Black America. I'm trying to say that. I hear these voices in my head. Ill the weird one. Do I fit in better with other cultures? I'm assuming I don't fit in with this one. I'm very blurty. I'm also quirky. I play lacrosse. I love rock music and folk music, even country music. I grew up watching Disney Channel and Full House, and I love to sing. I love to write. I love anime and sci-fi, and Star Wars played a big impact in my life. And I love education, and I love world history, and I paint my nails black because rock music adopted me. I'm not calm like these R&B singers. I talk pretty fast, so sometimes I stutter. If you have to tell me to slow down, it's okay. I'm Caribbean. My mind sometimes loses track and we just talk very, very fast. I feel as though I don't have any real hood elements to me. I grew up in the suburbs outside the city. I'm not a big fan of R&B nor gangster rap. Or gangster rap. I think it makes people very aggressive. Killing people and selling drugs, I don't really approve of it. But black on the outside, white on the inside, they claim. Am I not black enough? Is it because I'm brown and I'm not light-skinned? Or is it because at one time I was not an American citizen? I am Trinidadian, I am Caribbean. Is it because I speak differently to you? Or is it because I'm not familiar with Tupac and Biggie? And I don't know much of African American history. But I just want to know, I would love to know, what is it, why is it, how come you don't accept me? I hear the voices inside my head again. It was a weird one. I'm tired of the stares I get from my own people who look like me. I'm so tired of how they treat me because I have different views, and I'm not from the city like you, and I feel this hatred entering my heart. An African proverb once stated, if a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And I'm so close to doing so. I'm so close to burning down what you call your precious hood to the ground with my intellect, and maybe then I'll feel the warmth of my people. Just like the African proverb. And then you might accept me. And I can feel comfortable in my own skin. I hear the voices inside my head again. It was a weird one. I don't know how to feel as I lack this self-identity, culture identity, this individuality. I just want someone to cuddle with me at night to take the pain away so I can feel warm and not cold towards my own people. My heart has grown so cold, I have to take warm showers to defrost my feelings. My heart hurts. But as I started to grow spiritually and mentally, I started to navigate through reality differently. And I realized the only way out is through. And I sat down with God. I sat down with the pain. I meditated with it, connected with it. I took the pain. I took that hurt. And I used it for something better. I used the hurt to inspire me. The pain turned me into a wonderful writer that wrote his way through college, through communications, through rhetoric, through philosophy. My writing balances the dark and light within me. And I have learned it's not personal, it's a human thing. We are under systematic programming. The concept of race was really meant to divide us. We put labels on everything. What is a black thing? What is a white thing? Why do we put labels on things? Is it because we're scared of change? For something out of the ordinary. But I almost became a victim of their ignorance, but I have risen through the pain, and I almost became like them, but I had to wake and rise to see that I did not let these people define me. I am divergent. I don't fit into this programmed, mundane society, As I took a hold of the pain, I started to find healers and writers. Spiritual, my people are. We are woke, we understand life and spirit. When we come in all shades of colors, to many different cultures, to black, to white, to Japanese, to Chinese, to African, we come in so much different culture. We come from different shades, different cultures, different backgrounds. And I realized those are my people. I embraced the voice inside my head. It was a weird one. Thank you. Well, this is gonna be my last poem. This is gonna be done, and this is the poem that I first written. You know, it was my first poem I actually wrote, and I performed it here a year ago. You know, and my friends too, who watch anime, definitely inspired this poem as well. It's called Black Samurai. As I feel my chakras aligning through the corridor, I feel my third eye awakening more and more. I feel the hatred of the dark corridor. I feel the moon pulling me in a direction and giving me a peace of mind as I pray for my enemies, knowing that they will die by the way of the samurai. As I walk down this dark corridor, all I see is eyes of deception, fear and misconception. I'm sharp like the edge of a samurai sword as I study with Buddha, preparing for war. At this point, should I try to break free from these shackles? I don't know. I can't stop hearing her voice as it echoes, but for some reason, I'm not scared. As a black samurai, I'm trained to face fear. For some reason, I'm ready to face the consequences of what I did. I'm ready to go home. I feel nothing but hate, and for the first time, I felt alone. Everyone I know is gone. And if there is such thing as an afterlife, I know that before I even get there, I'm going straight to hell first. As a black samurai, I'm one with the earth. I'm sharp like the edge of a samurai sword. At this point, should I try to break free from these shackles? I don't know. I just can't stop hearing her voice as it echoes. I miss you dearly. And I'm so sorry what you have become. But maybe in the next life, you know, we can drink to some rum. But I can't help but not to wonder what I could have done. I'm feeling the moon energy around me as I feel the cold misconception from these soldiers that are ready to kill me. What will happen after death as I wander through the dark corridor? As I look at these soldiers in their eyes, I look at them ready to die. So I screamed at them. I screamed at the top of my lungs as I opened fire. I am the Black Samurai. That's it.
Hayden Saunier is the author of 6 poetry collections, including her new book, The Postal Service Worked for Her, Wheel, Terrapin 2024. Her work has been published in 32 poems, Beloit Poetry Journal, Diode, Southern Poetry Review, The Sun and VQR, and featured on Poetry Daily, The Writer's Almanac, and Verse Daily. Awards include, this is impressive, a Pushcart Prize, a Pablo Neruda Award, and the Rattle Poetry Prize. You can find out more about Hayden at www.hayden, Hayden, Saunier, Saunier.com. Welcome to the stage, Hayden.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting me to read, and thank you to Moonstone for doing these readings and giving opportunities for so many people. So it's really wonderful. But there are 4 poems in the book that are all named Wheel. And so I'm just going to read those. I'm going to read those 4 poems as a unit. Wheel 1. There is a how to it, but not a why. We know enough to know that much, not more. The way tree roots upturned are birds flown into sky, as if the point is to become what we are not. We know enough to know that much, not more. In early spring, our footsteps green the path, as if the point is to become ourselves, and then, in time, become an otherness in early spring. Our footsteps green the path, we walk together through tall woods, which is an otherness we will become in time, while everything around us turns and turns. We walk together through tall woods, in every season as one rolls into the next, while trees and birds around us turn and green the path we will become in time. The point is to become what we are not. Birds slowly sail through earth, tree roots learn sky. We know enough to know that much, not more. There is a how to it, but not a why. Field 2. Shiva, god of destruction, has taken my shape, or I've taken his. The physics of embodiment are unclear to me, but not to the swallows in tailored blue jackets swooping over the mower as we cut down the pasture, a thick haze of insects and chaff rising golden behind us, making Shiva and me the loud and benevolent bringers of feast. Our multiple arms hard at work at the levers, birds binging above us, and the day is a dance between air, earth, and force. The best part is the start, when we make the first turns back and forth with our crown of swift flyers, soft roaring of horsepower, headphone cords snaking our shoulders, the music of spheres in our ears, with the whir of sharp blades in hovering circles below. We turn and we turn, and we cut, making way for green shoots of new grasses to grow. I watch for fawns breaking from vanishing cover as we chop up their nurseries. Destruction, creation, one side to the other. I watch them head into wood's edge and vanish. Foxes and vultures and hawks watching too. We don't stop. We don't stop once we've started. We don't stop when the whir strikes a thick mass of straw grass, protecting a warren of rabbits, when Shiva holds firm to the wheel as a terrible fountain of soft gray-brown bodies spews out of the earth, scattering in panic or twitching where they lie on the ground. Shiva tells me time isn't on anyone's side. We are time. We become it each day with our gigantic wheels and our motorized scythes, spinning life into death, into life, into death, and there's no turning back or aside. There's famine or feast, and today is all feast. Swallows circle above us, inscribing this text of the world in the sky. Yes, I repeat myself. That's what I'm for. Obsession is a turning wheel. Foxes prowl the pasture, stalk fresh-cut grass for mice, not from obsession, but design. Because the giant wheels of our newly paid-off tractor have just crisscrossed the field, brush hog attached, that time of year. Everything dies, everything returns, everything repeats itself. Almost the exact same mixture of sea blue chicory and Queen Anne's lace broadcasts its colors in the ditches, small dark eyes skyward. I repeat myself. It's obvious we're all the same. Design may be obsession's other name. And the last wheel, wheel 4. There is a how to it, but not a why. We know enough to know that much, not more. But I repeat myself, that's what I'm for. Obsession is a turning wheel. Fox prowl the way tree roots upturned or birds flown into sky, as if the point is to become what we are not by obsession, but design, because we know enough to know that much, not more. In early spring, our footsteps green the path, the giant wheels crisscross the field, the swallows swoop and dive, as if the point is to become ourselves, and then in time, an otherness that dies, returns, repeats itself in early spring. Almost the same blue chicory and Queen Anne's lace green the path we've walked together through tall woods, which is the otherness we will become in time. Because we are time, we become it, dark eyes skyward, as everything around us wheels and turns. Design may be obsession's other name, and I repeat myself, that's what I'm for. We're all the same. We turn around that core. As swallows write the text into the sky, there is a how to it, but not a why. We know enough to know that much, not more. I'm going to read one that was inspired by an NPR discussion on green burial, and then I'm going to read one new poem. Self-portrait as 3 cubic feet of compost. That's 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, and will require a small truck to move, meaning I won't have that light and airy feel of ash, nor will I lift and vanish like a cloud ascending, holy, 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 when cast to the winds. I'll have heft. The brochure describes a layering of wood chips, alfalfa, straw, and me, in a careful blend of nitrogen and carbon, nestled inside a steel cylinder. Then, 6 weeks later, voila, topsoil. Upside, no carbon footprint, no chemicals, no hot burn, because we've had enough of fires, haven't we? Downside, you can't just leave me in a drawer or on a closet shelf or sell me in my porcelain urn at a yard sale by mistake. I'll be work. You'll have to shovel me. So I suggest you simply dump me on the bigger compost heap and turn me for a season. Then pay me out in spring to flower beds, red raspberries. Oh, to be threaded through with root, crisscrossed by traceries of vole and worm and grub, and what frisson thrills 1,000 diamond points of frost and freeze may bring. By then, I'll be completely us, it, them, and we. We'll germinate, get rinsed away. We'll cling to a snowy egret's awkward yellow feet, fly, plummet, land, and settle back into the suck of black-gray mud. We'll collapse into cool, dark corridors. We'll send up spiky stalks of pink-streaked lotus buds enclosing hearts made strange with chartreuse fruit and golden fringe. There'll be no end to us. Those sad grass plots in front of every house go dormant in August, but this year all seems flat out dead. Swaths of dried brown patches burned with heat and lack, and the spicy urine of drunk boys stumbling past on late nights, stuffed with bucket beer and hot wings dipped in oily pools of hell's half-acre. Root structures tangle. After all, the block's a mix of old and new, and you never know what will return. My cat came back. He was locked up for months down the street by a woman in a house with all white furniture, white carpets, and bleached gravel for a lawn. She wouldn't let him go. Turns out you can't steal a dog in this town, but you can commandeer a cat. There are no laws, no rules for cats, because a cat knows how to read a room. So when my cat escaped again and Crazy Cat Thief tried to lure him back with canned salmon and an open door, he dragged a bleeding baby bunny through her all-white house. And just like magic, he was mine again. I've heard how the grasses speak a language underground, share tips and warnings with the shrubs and street trees, though no translations needed for the lines they've scrawled about us in this hard, dry piston soil. I whisper to them, sleep. Sleep and wait for better days. Then choose your moment like a cat. The spring will come. Thank you.